Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if it's the first time you are joining me. My name is Hayley and I review fragrances. So in today's video, I wanted to make a video all about fragrances that I used to wear all of the time. These are fragrances that I used to wear before I created content. These are fragrances that I used to also wear before I started collecting. And I thought it would be fun to look back on some of these fragrances and let you know if I still recommend them, what I think about them today, do I still wear them, all of that kind of good stuff. And I'll explain a little bit about each fragrance, when I used to wear them, all of that kind of stuff. But first up, I'm going to start with Tom Ford Velvet Orchid. Now this is one of the oldest fragrances in my collection. I used to wear this as somewhat of a signature scent, and I'm talking, I don't know how long ago. I've had this for at least 10 years, I think. And I used to wear this in my corporate job. I wore it every day, and I'm surprised about that now because I wouldn't necessarily call this an everyday scent. And I think it's because it's unique, it's quite challenging. It's a love-hate fragrance, the same as Black Orchid. But do I still think it's great? Yes, I do. But honestly, I haven't worn this for a good year. And I don't know why, because I think it's a great fragrance. It's very unique. There's a lot going on. I can't even begin to describe all of the notes in here. But it's like a sultry, sexy, floral, slightly spiced, truffle, chocolatey, ambery fragrance. And it will definitely get you noticed, but it's not going to be for everyone. Like I said, the same as Black Orchid, it's not going to be for everyone, but I loved it. And I still love it to this day. So I think I need to go and wear it again. I forgot how much I love this, so I'm glad I'm making this video. Next up, I'm going to go with one that I feel like most perfume collectors have either tried or have in their collection. And this is Baccarat Rouge 540. This is the Extrait. I do have the original too. I had the original first in my collection and then I added the Extrait. But I must say, I used to wear this one a lot more than the original. And I still love it. Like, quite frankly, I think it's a fantastic fragrance. But I am one of those people, unfortunately, that stopped wearing it because it is a fragrance that has been duped or it has inspired many of a scent profile now. I think most brands have a fragrance that smells somewhat similar to Baccarat Rouge. And it kind of put me off a little bit because I was smelling that DNA again and again. But objectively, it's a fantastic fragrance. There's a reason why it was hyped up. And I know not everyone likes it, but for me, I think it's fantastic. Especially the Extrait, that additional bitter almond note just adds that smooth, kind of creamy, nutty touch to it. And I used to get so many compliments wearing this. So yes, I still really like this fragrance. And for those of you that still wear it, you smell great. But do I wear it anymore? Unfortunately, I don't. And that's just a personal preference. But I still think it's great. So there's that. Next up is Intense Cafe by Montale. Now this was one of the first fragrances I bought when I really started getting into collecting. I was watching YouTube reviews and this one was recommended so much, let's say 4 or 5 years ago. And I loved it. I used to wear it all of the time and I used to also get compliments. It's quite a loud fragrance. It's rose and vanilla with a little bit of coffee. And this was the kind of scent profile that I absolutely adored at one stage in my perfume journey. This and Mancera Roses Vanille were two fragrances that I was just obsessed with. And I still love those scent profiles. Do I reach for them much now? No, I don't, because as I mentioned, tastes change, tastes evolve. And by having a collection like this, I like so many other different types of scent profiles now, but I have to say this is a scent profile that was very much a me type of scent profile. It's a very strong, sweet rose and vanilla with a dash of coffee. And again, I still recommend it to this day, like if you love that type of scent profile. But again, it's another fragrance. I just don't wear that much myself, and that's okay. Next up, Delina. So if you watch my channel or any of my videos, you may have seen that I don't know if you can see it in the background, I do have the Delina trio. I have all 3 of them. And it is purely because as a collector, I wanted to own all 3 of them. It's not because I love all 3 of them. And it's subjective, right? most people enjoy Delina exclusive the most. And interestingly, that's my least favorite from the three. I would say my favorite right now is Delina La Rose, but Delina was one of the first like luxury niche fragrances I added to my collection. And I used to wear it all of the time. I loved it. I went from Intense Cafe because I had this first and kind of moved on to Delina because this was more expensive, or still is more expensive. Now this, if you don't know, is a very tart kind of rhubarb lychee rose fragrance. And I still think it's great objectively, but very similar to Baccarat Rouge. This is one of the most duped or inspired by fragrances of all time in the fragrance world. This, and probably Aventus, they're probably the top three most duped fragrances, I think. And that stopped me loving it, which is a shame because objectively, like I say, it's a great scent profile. I would recommend it to anyone still because it is fantastic. It gets compliments, it projects, it lasts all day, and it smells fantastic. But every brand, or nearly every brand, has a fragrance that smells somewhat similar to this. And that ends up putting me off a little bit. I don't know if it's just a me thing, but when you smell something so often, and fragrances that have a similar DNA so often, it just stops my love for it a little bit. And that is a shame. But objectively, yes, it's a great fragrance. Do I wear it myself anymore? No, I don't. But I will always have it in my collection. Next up, I used to talk about this fragrance all of the time. This is Another 13 by Le Labo. Now, this used to be very much a me fragrance, a signature scent type of fragrance. I would say it was after the kind of intense cafe period. My tastes evolved a little bit and I started to really enjoy like molecular fragrances. I used to enjoy more of those. Well, I say I used to enjoy. I kind of moved into musky fragrances. And Another 13 is one of those fragrances that is kind of your skin but better. It's one of those fragrances that doesn't necessarily smell like a fragrance but smells incredible. It will capture people's attention. They will want to know what you are wearing. It just has something incredibly special about it. And again, it was one that used to get me so many compliments. I probably haven't worn this for a year, and it's not because I don't think it's great, because again, objectively, I think it's great, but it's quite heavy on that kind of musky quality. And I now have other fragrances in my collection that I just prefer over it, and that's just a personal preference. But when I smell this on other people, I love it. So would I recommend Another 13? I absolutely would, but it's just not something that I reach for much anymore. And that, I guess, is just the nature of having so many fragrances to choose from. But again, I recommend it. So take that as you will. And then next up is Tom Ford Jasmin Rouge. Now, a little story behind this one. This was another fragrance that I had before I started collecting. It was around the same time, maybe a little bit after the Velvet Orchid phase for me. And I actually got given a bottle of this from my mother-in-law, actually. So she bought this and decided it was a little bit too heavy for her, and she gifted me her bottle. And this is one of the most beautiful, ultra realistic jasmine fragrances, but it is very strong. It is very in your face. I would say it's quite an indolic, heavy jasmine. So I don't necessarily feel this is going to be for everyone. You have to really be into jasmine fragrances, and you have to be into fragrances that are quite loud and in your face. But if that is your thing, then yes, you might like Jasmin Rouge. I still love it, but again, it's not a fragrance I reach for much. It's very nostalgic to me. And I would recommend it for jasmine lovers, but I don't wear heavy jasmines. When I do, I will probably reach for Alien, the new Alien Extra Intense by Mugler, just because it's a little bit softer in the base with the vanilla. But objectively, again, I'm saying that so much. Objectively, yes, I recommend it. Like, it's clear, I like these fragrances, right? But I just don't reach for them anymore. And I don't need to explain myself. It's just natural that we change. But will all of these hold a special place in my heart? Yes, they will. So yes, I recommend Jasmin Rouge, but only for those of you that really love a heavy, indolic jasmine fragrance. And lastly, we have Initio Atomic Rose. Now, This I got after this. So I loved Delina, and I heard that Atomic Rose, this was a blind purchase. I heard that Atomic Rose was similar to Delina, but it was almost like the older sister. It was the more sultry sister. So, I mean, I was sold on it because I was wearing this a lot at the time. So I was like, yeah, I need Atomic Rose. And I ended up liking this more than Delina. Do you know what, actually, thinking about it, this is almost like these two combined, but with some spice. So imagine the creaminess from Intense Cafe, the tart rose from Delina. You then have Atomic Rose, but add in some pink pepper. It's quite a spicy fragrance. It is quite similar to Delina in many ways, but it's just spicier. And I do agree, it's a more like grown up or sexy version of Delina. Its older sister, like people explained it to be. And again, I still really like this fragrance. And out of all of these here, I would probably reach for this the most still. I would say Another 13 and Atomic Rose are the fragrances that maybe align best to my taste now. But out of all of them, Atomic Rose is the one I would probably reach for out of all of these. But yeah, I still recommend it. But there's fragrances I just prefer in my collection now, and that's okay. But let me know what you thought about this video idea. Let me know if you like any of these fragrances. And I would love to hear some of the fragrances that you still own that you used to wear a lot, but you don't reach for anymore, but they're maybe a little bit sentimental to you. I would love to hear your feedback. But I enjoyed making this video. It really made me kind of think about my collection, think about my taste in perfumery, and yeah, so thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure as always. I hope to see you in a future video to come. Thank you so much, and goodbye.